He's truly made it awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sundquist.
So when I was a junior in high school, my geometry class, I sat right behind Amy Gardner. Yeah. Now, I don't know if any of you guys are friends on Facebook with Amy Gardner, but in case you are not, let me inform you that Amy Gardner was so hot. And I was 16 years old, so I was like, man, I should ask Amy on a date. But I was like too nervous to talk to her, right? I was like I couldn't do it. So finally, it literally came down. It was the last day of school before summer was going to start. And I distinctly remember because I was standing like at my locker, and I could see on the other end of the math hallway where her locker was, and she was like, you know, cleaning out her locker, getting her books, and taking out her post-it notes from her BFFs, like getting ready to go home for the summer, right? And I was like, like, this is my last chance to ask her out. Like, after this, it's going to be summer, and then I'm not going to see her till the fall. So I'm like, all right, I got to do this, right? So I get all psyched up, like, right? And then I walk down the hallway. And I distinctly remember walking down the hallway for two reasons. Number one, I was walking with my artificial leg. And when I walk with my artificial leg, I have a slight limp. So pretty much I have a natural pimp walk. Yeah. And so I'm walking down the hallway. The other thing that was important about that was in that moment, I composed in my mind the greatest pickup line of all time. I walked up to Amy Gardner and I was like, Amy, we should hang out sometime. Now let me tell you why this is so good, alright? Because a lot of times guys try to spit game like, can I have a number? Will you go out with me? But the problem with these things is that those are yes or no questions. You do not ever want to ask a girl a yes or no question, because if you do that, she can say no. Exactly. And if she says no, then you've been rejected. If you've been rejected, you're gonna like curl up in the fetal position and cry yourself to sleep for like 9 or 10 months. It's awful. I know, because it's happened to me. But at that moment, I realized what I needed to do was just, instead of asking her a yes or no question, was just make an opinion statement. Also, I was going through puberty. I was like, my opinion is we should hang out sometime, right? Because no one else can disagree with your opinion, because that is very rude, right? For example, let's say that I went up to her to share an opinion, such as, Amy, I really like Nerdfighteria. You guys do. And what's she like gonna do? Probably she's gonna be like, yeah, okay. But what if you shared an opinion such as, we should hang out sometime? And then she was like, yeah, okay. Oh, she just said okay and has in effect agreed to go on a date with you. Awesome. So anyway, it's a good trick, you should use it. I take her out to play golf, because where I'm from in Harrisonburg, Virginia, there's this free par 3 golf course. And we get on the course and we're on like the 6th tee, and I put the ball down on the tee, and I hit this shot, I'm like, 4, right? And I hit this shot, and it's like this perfect parabolic arc. It like soars through the air, like one of those levels of Angry Birds where you have to get the bird over a large pile of stones in order to blow up the pigs. Like that. So it stops like 2 or 3 feet away from the hole. Now I am so excited because I'm like, oh, this shot is so good. She's totally gonna want to make out with me now. It's gonna be awesome. So I'm all excited, yes. Now, something else that you should know about artificial limbs is that they are pre-programmed to malfunction at the worst possible moments in your life. Yeah. So let me give you a slow motion demonstration of what happened. I was like, yeah, yeah. Oh! It's like the Matrix. Oh! Right, I fall down on the ground. All right, and it's very awkward. Like, Amy doesn't know what to do because, like, what do you do when the guy with one leg falls down? True story. I look down, I don't know how this happened, but the foot on my artificial leg is turned around backwards. So you can imagine the other golfers are looking at me like, yeah, 911. I have a serious golfing emergency to report to you. This guy's foot is like broken backwards. No, seriously, I'll send you a picture text, hold on. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to figure out like how I can remedy this situation. And I think of this idea. I walk over to the edge of the golf course, which, by the way, not easy to do when one foot... Can we go wider? Wider, 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 wider. I'm talking cameraman. Yes? Yes? Perfect. So it's not easy to do when one foot is facing this way and the other foot is facing this way. But it's a walk over. And I take, I was walking behind the podium, let me do it this direction. I walk over, and I take my artificial leg, and I start kicking it against a tree to try to pop it back into place. Right, so I'm just like kicking this tree. And at that point I feel like the other golfers are looking at me like, it's like Chuck Norris over here. That's an anger management problem. That was ridiculous, I'll never forget that. But that, my friends, is the true story, the genesis, the origin story of the greatest pickup line of all time. Thank you. I want to share one more origin story with you today, and that is the story of how I made my very first vlog on YouTube a couple years ago. Yeah, so I don't know if any of you have ever tried to tie a real bow tie, but if you have, you know that they're very classy, very James Bond-esque. But it's like impossible to get them to stay straight. They're always like crooked and like uneven, right? And so I'm at this black tie fundraiser and I'm in the men's room for like 20 minutes trying to straighten out this real bow tie that I'm wearing. I'm like, oh, this is so difficult, it's so annoying, it's just not worth it. Like the next time I have to wear a tuxedo, I'm gonna go back to like prom-style clip-on bow ties, because this is just too difficult, not worth it. All right, and at this moment, this gentleman walks into the room. Now, and he sees me standing there, and something you should know. Fun fact, seeing an amputee has the same effect on most people as seeing a YouTube video that does not have any comments on it. In other words, people feel like they must comment. First, no, I'm first. You know first, I'm first, second, maybe not first. Who cares? Anyway, so this guy walks in, right? He's like, oh, I must comment. That was in his mind. He did not say that. And so he walks over to me, right? And he's like, oh, it looks like you do pretty well with that. And I am so focused, though, on my bow tie that I assume he is talking about my ability to tie a real bow tie. And so I'm like, oh, why, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, about 10 seconds later, he and I are standing at the urinals. Yo, let's get a little tighter shot now. That's kind of weird. The urinals also is just a large couch. So we're standing there, right? And I'm standing beside him, and I want to remind you that I am thinking about my bow tie, and he is thinking about my life. And I'm like, I'll tell you though, it's actually pretty difficult. And he's like, yeah, it looks like it would be pretty difficult. And then I said, direct quote, I am not making this up. I was like, yeah, in fact, tonight I've been feeling like it's just not even worth it anymore. This guy blatantly breaks the #1 rule of social interaction at urinals, makes eye contact with me. And he's like, son, it is always worth it. Better in a real bow tie than I thought. And a couple weeks later, I was thinking about it, and I realized what had happened. I was like, oh man, you know who I need to tell that story to? The internet. So I turned on my webcam, and although at that time I did not even know the word vlog, in that moment, I became a vlogger. And the thought that I want to leave you with this morning is that when you turn on your webcam, when you upload a video to YouTube, whether that video ends up getting 10 views or 10 million views, it is always worth it. Because the point of YouTube is not subs and views. The point of YouTube is creative expression and community. And the fact that you're in this room here today means that you are a part of that community. And for that reason, I would like to close this morning by saying that you and I should hang out sometime.
Lobby.